Hey there, I'm Aaron with Arkto Campers. And in this video, we're going to show you a few steps on how to winterize your Arkto Campers G12. You're going to need a couple items, one of which is going to be a 1 gallon or 4 liter jug of RV water system antifreeze, which you can buy at most any RV supply stores or hardware stores. You're going to need a stool to get up over the top of here, which we'll show you shortly on how to access the water pump valve. And you're going to need a bucket. And the bucket is to drain your Truma Combi, so make sure the bucket's large enough to hold at least 10 liters or 2.7 gallons. Right, so your very first step that you want to do is actually drain the water tank and drain the Truma Combi. So you can grab your bucket and put it under the Combi. It'll be just underneath this corner here, or just underneath the corner stabilizer. The valve for your fresh water tank is, you can access it just behind the tire. And just go ahead and open that up and drain the water out of there. There is a threaded end on that valve. So if you have your trailer parked in your garage or somewhere where you don't want water dumping everywhere, you can go ahead and hook up like a garden hose and run the garden hose out to wherever you need to be. So once your system's fully drained, basically your next step is to run a little bit of air into the system. So you can go and turn on your water pump, hook up the spout on your faucet and bring your shower head out and open up all the valves and just run the water so that there's a little bit of air being introduced into the system. So we drain most of the water from some of the secondary piping in here. Once that's all done, go ahead and turn off your water pump, close all the valves, and you're going to come around over here. And the first step is actually going to be getting access to the water pump. And in order to do that, you're going to have to remove all your content from the storage area. And once you've done that, we're going to push up and lift out this panel here. So we can just slide it rearward and then away from you towards the pantry. And as you can see, that gives us access to all the utility or plumbing areas in here. So we have one valve to rotate that's sitting just on the passenger side of the water pump. And so you're going to step on your stool, reach over and turn that valve. Then you're going to come over here, and there's one valve to the left side of the Truma, or the forward side of the Truma, and you're going to rotate that 90 degrees. It only turns one way, so don't worry about which way to turn the valve. And then we have another one on the face of the Truma, and you're going to turn that valve as well. Once that's all done, what we have is a white winterization hose that's tucked on the side here. That very first valve that was rotated by the water pump actually redirects where the water pump picks up fluid from. So under normal circumstances, of course, it picks up from the fresh water tank. When you rotate that, it actually ends up picking up from here. So what you can do is now open up your jug. You're going to place this hose into the jug, open up this valve to allow some flow to happen. And then now you're going to get up and go to your kitchen faucet and your shower, make sure everything's hooked up again, turn on your water pump, and start off at your kitchen faucet, run the cold water, and then just basically run it until pink fluid starts coming out. And once the pink fluid starts coming out, you know that it has run through all the cold water lines. And then do the same for the hot. And then after that, make your way over to the shower and do the exact same thing. Wait till pink fluid comes out, and now you know there's antifreeze in all your water lines. So come back around here. You can turn off your water pump now, close all the faucet valves, shut your valve on here. You can shake out the contents and go ahead and just put this hose back away until you're ready to de-winterize your trailer in the spring. Yeah, and that pretty much sums up the steps on how to winterize your plumbing lines. And after this, we'll take you inside and give you a couple steps on how to winterize for your battery or electrical system. All right, so the next steps for winterization is going to be dealing with the electrical or the battery system. This is really going to depend your very next steps here on whether you have the lithium batteries or the standard SLA or lead acid batteries. If you have standard lead acid batteries, you want to make sure your batteries are charged to 100%, and obviously you can do so with your shore power plug. But once you're done that, we're going to remove the shore power plug regardless of the battery type you have. So go ahead and remove that. If you have the lithium, optional lithium batteries in the trailer, we're going to want to get the batteries to about a 50 to 60% state of charge. And of course, you can do that by just using your system and draining down the batteries and then checking your display on the status of the battery. So get them about 50 or 60%. That's the ideal state of charge for the longevity of the batteries. So the next steps after disconnecting your shore power is going to be opening up your 50 amp breaker. You can do so by depressing this button on the top of the breaker, which will, you'll see this little red kind of toggle or door open up. That means you have disconnected the power from the main system. That is the main breaker between your batteries and the system. So go ahead and open that up. And after you've done that, we're going to go ahead and remove the ventilation hose from the battery box. That's done with a flathead screwdriver to undo the gear clamp there. And so why don't we go ahead and do that. And just remove the ventilation hose from the top of the box. And the next steps are to open up the thumb screws. There's 4 thumb screws you can just open and remove, and that'll give us access to the batteries underneath this lid. So we're going to remove the lid to the battery box. You can do so by just kind of shimmying it past the flange on the bench. And that gives us access to your batteries. A nice little tip, because you're obviously going to open this up. If you're not experienced with RV batteries, this is going to look like a rat's nest of cables. Grab some masking tape and a Sharpie or a marker or pen or whatever, and label each of your cables so that you're going to remember how they go back. Take your phone out, take a picture of the cables so that you can reference it in the spring when you hook your batteries back up, so you know that you're putting the cables back where they belong. If you do have any issues with that, of course, you're welcome to reach out to us and we'll gladly help you configure all the cables back up. What you're going to need to remove the batteries is a 1/2-inch socket or a 1/2-inch wrench, and you can undo the bolts on the batteries, remove the bolts in the cables, and take your batteries out and bring them to a warm, dry place, whether that's in a heated garage or your basement of your home or something like that. With respect to the batteries, it's always a good idea to have a multimeter or voltmeter and check the voltages on your batteries throughout the winter, just to ensure that they're not draining on their own. And of course, you can go ahead and top those up to your either 100% for the lead acid or 50% for the lithium batteries. For those of you that have the lithium batteries, here's another small step that you'll need to take or should take for your winterization of your batteries, is that once your batteries have been removed, go ahead and find this pigtail here. This comes standard with the batteries. They were either in your owner's pouch with all the manuals, or they'll be strapped to the top of the batteries here. So you'll have a look for it there. If it's not, we'll ship you one out. Not really a big deal, but what you're going to do is after you've removed your batteries and put them on a bench or the floor, wherever you're storing them, you can take this Cat5 cable and plug it into the left port on the top of the lithium batteries. Once you've plugged that in, you're going to see that the end of the pigtail here will illuminate blue. You can hold down that button, and what it'll do is it'll put the battery in shelf mode. This is meant a mode meant for storing your batteries. You'll know it went into shelf mode once that battery, that light at the top of the button will actually change colors or a tone of blue. So go ahead and do that, and then you're all set up for your winterization. Of course, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us, admin@arktocampers.com or @arktocampers on social media. Thanks, have a great day.